Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And what do we have sitting here on the bench? Well, I mentioned this in a different video a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. This is the alky saw, I called it, I guess, the 024 Super alky saw, alcohol saw, methanol burner, whatever you want to call it. I've been spending a little bit of time on it here off and on. Originally started life as an 024 Super. It was just one of those saws that I've tinkered with on and off. I've robbed parts off of it for other builds, but just a while back I decided, hey, let's just do something different with this build just for fun. I got it going, and the first couple cuts with it I videoed, and that video took off and got over 25,000 views and is still going. So I was like, well, hell, we may as well show the little saw some love, I guess. We will start with the cylinder. It has I think that's an OEM 260 cover. It could be an aftermarket one, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. In most cases, you can't tell the difference anyway, but aftermarket Stihl ms260 top end. There's video on the channel of me originally doing this build, and even then, even on gas, it got quite a bit of attention. Has quite a bit of machine work. Has a custom piston I made. It's like I cut the dome out of it, and it's got like a button top, if that makes sense. I've been lightened, of course. Port work on it kind of mild. Kind of a woodsy port on it. I've done the machine work working on mainly lowering the exhaust roof. I'm wanting to say this thing set at like 101 or 102, and I don't really remember the rest of the numbers, but if I can find that video where we originally done that, I'll put it at the end of this one. Alright, and here's where the differences are at. To do this, you're going to have to basically hack up a handle. So if it's a really, really nice saw, you really care about it, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But 044, 046 style carburetor, that's an aftermarket carb. I do have an OEM one here. I do plan on going through and getting set up on this thing for the alcohol. Aftermarket carb with some OEM carb parts. The metering plate on it is off of a 372 carb. Throttle linkage, I think, was off of a Stihl ms310, which uses basically the same carburetor. They're very, very similar. I don't even know that there's any differences in the two carburetors. We got a velocity stack, and that's an actual K&N air filter on it. I pulled that off of another build that we are trying to put back to look more like a stockish saw. May do some video on that later. My old 064. That's another real strong runner. To do this build, you're going to have to do some hacking up. You can try to make it as neat looking as possible, which I've done here, but the first thing you have to do is the hole where the intake boot comes through. You have to open that up and open it up quite a bit. You're going from a 15mm carb to like a 22mm, I think is what that measures. Don't quote me on that, it's been a little bit since I measured the two, but I think I've got an 036 intake boot on this, but you can use an 038. They're really similar, not a lot of difference between them, but we're using that. And the seal ring plate, I don't remember what it was off of. I think it was one for a 170 or a 250. An older one that uses that flat plate that I'd opened up and drilled out. For some reason or another, I couldn't get the 036 seal ring to go in right and seal up. Had an air leak, so had to come up with something different there. But I'm sure when I do go back into the cylinder to make it a little hotter, I'll figure that out and hopefully be able to get an actual ring to go in that boot instead of the plate that I'm using. But as for right now, there's no air leak and it works fine. But again, I don't know if I mentioned it, but if it's a nice saw, that you care about, you probably don't want to do any of this, because it's going to hack it up and may or may not decrease its value, I guess. And I really hope that I've not missed anything in this. But the muffler, I'm really thinking about, I've got a large deflector. I'm thinking about punching this muffler out here and putting that big deflector on. But in the front of the muffler, if you know how these are made, behind this shield they have a deflector. It's a pretty good sized deflector, but on this build the whole front of the muffler is almost open. That deflector is still there, but it is cut out quite a bit. It's got a pretty good loud bar and chain. That is an actual Stihl bar that I've sanded down. Put, I think, 3 coats of self-etching primer, and then it's got 2 or 3 coats of clear on it. And if it's not set up all the way, it feels like it is, it'll probably come right off after a cut or two. But if you let them set up and cure really well, I ain't gonna say it's as good as that epoxy coating that comes on them, but it's not bad either. It looks a lot better than a screwed up bar. But that's a 16-inch 3/8. That is off of, if you guys remember the old 041 Farm Boss, that there's video where I bought it for like 50 bucks. It was supposed to be seized, but the bar oil had leaked into the crankcase and had it seized up, pulled the plug out, and all of that blowed out of it. Put a fuel line on it, and that saw ran good. I cut a lot of firewood with that saw, but this bar was originally on it. And that's a loop of Oregon EXL, full comp, full chisel. If you know what EXL is, you know that anyway. But I've done quite a bit of work to it. I've actually not cut with it since this last grind that I done, so I don't know. We may or may not make a cut in this video, but what I wanted to get to is I'm kind of hating this handlebar. The paint's all chipped off of it, just looks like crap. It's not comfortable at all. I've done a few handlebars with this. It's a tennis racket tape. I really like the looks of that, but I am going to add something here. I think it is where this handlebar is so thin and so narrow. We didn't make it quite all the way to the bottom. We only made it to about here, which isn't a big deal. Your hand's not all the way down that far anyway, but this saw's probably only ever going to see up and down cuts. There's no way I'd take that out and try to fall with it or anything. Again, stuff like this to me is just for fun. Don't even have a set of dogs on the saw. But again, I might, just for the hell of it, put a chain brake assembly on it, and maybe we can take a OE set of dogs, those thin ones, and knock the spikes down to where we've just got a flat dog like you see on a lot of racers. But hot saw, but not a hot saw. But it is really, really spicy. Those of you that have seen it run know that. And, maybe the next thing we might do here is I may fire it up, and we'll just see where this video goes and where it ends.